every day, the every morning even, the moment you wake up and you touch that phone, and I hate to break it to you and I hate to admit this, but our moms were right. It's really that phone. We are constantly and immediately hit with a tsunami of headlines, social media trends, and urgent notifications. Most people think the way to respond to this, to survive this, is to scream louder. They think building a personal brand, making a name for themselves in this world, means adding more of that noise to the pile. But I want to let you in on a secret I learned as a creator. My job isn't actually to make content. My job is to be a filter. Now, every morning I wake up, I start my day by just diving into the chaos. I spend hours there. I research, I read, I scroll through the mess. But my value doesn't come from how much I know. It comes from what I choose is not to tell people, my audience. Think about driving a car when you're driving, right? And you're using a GPS. You don't want the GPS to tell you the chemical composition of the asphalt or the history of the street names you're passing. You want it to tell you turn left in 200 meters, turn right in 50 meters. My job is very much like that. It's to be the filter for my audience, for your curiosity. Now, there's a dangerous trap here. People often think simple equals dumbed down. They think if you explain an idea clearly, you're being superficial. I disagree. I think simplicity is the highest form of intelligence. Think about it. To make something simple, you have to master it first. You have to understand an idea so deeply that you know exactly which parts are the bones and which parts are just the fat. I have a personal rule in my life. If I can't explain a concept to a 5-year old, it doesn't mean that concept is too hard. It just means I haven't worked hard enough to understand it yet. Making things simple is not a shortcut, it's actually a marathon. It's about taking a messy and fragmented world that we live in today and building a bridge that actually holds weight. Let me give you a real world example. A couple of months ago, I decided to tackle quantum physics for a video. And if you're like me, you open a textbook on this, your brain will likely melt like how mine did when I first read about it. You'll see pages of dry equations, Greek symbols, and things like wave particle duality. For most of us here, for 99% of us here, it's just noise. It doesn't resonate because it doesn't feel human. So naturally, I started digging. I spent days filtering. I ignored the math. I ignored the dry, lofty academic terms. I looked for the human hook. It was then that I landed on a cat, specifically Schrodinger's cat. In the world of quantum physics, it's this famous idea of a cat in a box that's both dead and alive. And that right there is the nature of quantum physics. By using a story, an analogy, I wasn't dumbing down the science. I was designing an experience for my audience. I acted as the architect for that information. I cleaned up the data so that my audience didn't feel stupid. They felt curious. And that video ended up getting quite a bit of traction. But it wasn't because I'm a physicist. However, I wish, but I'm definitely not a physicist. It worked because I did the hard work of thinking so that my audience didn't have to struggle to keep up. So I'm guessing all of us here, young or old, we're all building our reputation every day in some way, shape, or form. You might think your reputation or your brand is how you're seen or perceived on the outside, but that couldn't be further from the truth. You know what your brand is? It's what's going on the inside. It's the cogwheels of your brain. It's your mode of thinking. And tonight, I want to give you a formula, a tool that you can use literally tomorrow to sharpen that mindset. Whether you're writing an email, giving a presentation, or explaining a project to your boss, use this formula that I call the 110 formula. And it goes like this: one problem. You don't have to change the world in one go. Identify the single point of confusion. What is that one thing keeping people stuck? Be it in your life, in your friend groups, in your family, at work, whatever it is, identify it. And then you come up with a solution. Give people one clear, practical path forward. You don't have to give them a menu of 50 options. Give them direction. Your credibility is built upon how effective your solution is. And then the last part, zero jargon. This is the hardest part, I know. I've been there, but you have to strip away the smart sounding words. If you use a word that requires a dictionary to understand, you've lost the room. If what you do, what you say, what you work for doesn't add value, it's just noise. True expertise isn't about looking smart. It's about being useful. If there's one thing that my journey as Davo's Lingo has taught me, is that the world doesn't need more content. We have enough content. What we need is clarity. Don't be and don't try to be the smartest person in the room. Instead, try to be the person that makes everyone else in the room feel smarter. Your value isn't in how much you know or what you have, but it's in how effective and clearly you can share it with other people. And remember, be the clarity, not the noise.